We're going to start off by talking about Warrior's Mitigation, I guess. And first of all, what stats mean. So, I guess strength is one thing, but I mean that's not something we can alter too much. It's just based on item level. It increases parry chance and your armor and so forth. Stamina is just max health. What we really are going to look more into is a bit more versatility. Crit, haste, mastery, what that does. Crit gives you a chance to parry, it also increases your damage, but therefore it might be a better source of mitigation in some dungeons than others. For example, if you parry a bleed attack, it's a huge deal. Or let's say I just did a straight 30 and this guy was enraged and had force multiplier on it, and I parried the power kick. That's a huge deal. But I mean that's nothing you can count on. In lower keys it's great for damage. That's about it. I wouldn't recommend to prioritize crit too much. Then we have haste. Some skills do have reduced CD based off your haste. For example, my shield block has 12-second recharge time. That is because I have above 28% haste. I'm putting it below 28, gonna go to 13. And I think beneath 11 seconds or 10 seconds, it's gonna start doing milliseconds as well. Haste means shorter GCDs as well, more costs, but at a certain point you're not going to be able to do enough self-healing with Ignore Pain. I mean, if Ignore Pain was a pure heal rather than a shield, it could be different, but our only source of healing is Indomitable together with Leech, which makes Leech pretty important, because even though this is, well, let's go to a proper key. Even though my Leech is not that huge, it's only 11%, but that's healing. It's almost same value as Indomitable. And I have 11% leech, 14% leech is what I was playing with actually. So haste also means you're gonna have an easier time keeping banner up, just because you'll be able to generate and use more rage. Then we're going over to mastery, and that gives you a chance to critically block, which is twice the amount of an attack, but not everything is blockable. For example, Natrasim's claws is not blockable. Sadly, it would be a big deal if it was, but you can reflect it, and it's not going to do damage back, but it's going to mitigate the healing with 0. Mastery also increases your attack power, and your no pain is going to be scaled off of attack power and versatility, I believe. So if I'm using banner, you see my no pain is now doing a 13,602 shield. Now it's just doing 17k. Boom. It's actually 22k here, which is a bit weird. I mean, I don't know, I don't get WoW's UIs. Yeah, showing a skill and it's just giving wrong numbers all the time. But mastery is not what we want to care about either too much. I mean, everything yes, because all secondary attributes have a DR. If I remember correctly, it's at 30%, 50% and 70%. I can't remember by how much. But defensive wise, we are going to care about versatility the most. Versatility is what we want and what we need. For every 1%, for every 2% of versatility you have, you get 1% damage reduction towards anything. And healing done is for every 1% you get 1% increased healing done. So that's what we really want, and considering these rings, they are amazing, but it's OWS, we can't really do it. Because we're going to be lacking, at least I've noticed I'm going to be lacking versatility in higher keys, and it's not really worth going for the affixes versatility because it's only giving 1% per stack. That means like at the end of the key you could get twice the amount of haste instead. This is what I'm usually running with now. Then we have Leech. Leech is great. It's not a big deal, but I mean, it still matters in the overall run of a key. And if your healer dies, or let's say Grimmail Depot, at least I've soloed the last boss for 40%, no, not 40%, but maybe like 20% of its health. Yeah, crit. Well, sure, that's another thing, but I think that's quite minimalistic. That's not going to give us much more rage, but sure. That is a good point, I guess, but not that big of a deal. I mean, if we move up to dummies, see, would you rather for you? I would rather go 30 haste, 30 versa. I mean, we're getting just as much rage from just being in combat. Rage short attacks is far off a major rage generation, but especially the parry amount. But sure, because then there's something as, I can't remember what it's called, but if you swing, if you attack and you parry, your swing timer is reduced down to 40% of its original or something like that. And then if it is like at a certain point, it's just going to reset your auto attack. It is worth it, wow, but I don't feel like we're going to get enough versatility from other slots. And if it's worth it, I'm definitely dropping Old Warrior Soul, I think, before I'm actually gonna play them again on a certain keys or certain key levels. Block is our main damage mitigation towards melee attacks or melee hits or whatever is blockable. There are perfectly good sheets that are not 100% accurate. I will put this in the description, but there are sheets that are counting what you can block, what you can reflect, and what it does. Not everything is true though. For example, yeah, okay, this is true. No, it wasn't though. It didn't say you could reflect Tulgamuk's Shadow Claws. But here you can see what is blockable and what it does when it blocks, or if it doesn't, anything, whatever. I will link that sheet for you. So with keeping shield block up, we have 125% chance to block damage. Now if I recall correctly, I think blocking a normal attack is 30% less damage taken, or so. Can't remember the mitigation order because it doesn't even really matter. I mean, just gotta keep it up or you're dead. If you're dead, it means you don't have enough verse or you're fucked up. Or that ability is not mitigated by anything or something like that. Think we're gonna move on to conduits, and as everyone knows, I think, or as everyone should be knowing by now, Necrolord is definitely the best for prot warriors in higher keys. Not if you necessarily want damage, because you could probably cheese a merciless bone grinder and spear together and do insane amounts of damage. But the biggest things about the Necrolord tree is we're playing Maroleth, and this is whatever. I mean, it's kind of nice. By just flesh crafting, you get a master increased by 120. If there are specific corpses nearby, you're going to get slightly other small benefits as well. Yeah, we die suddenly, and that's due to having to rely too much on no pain. I feel like it's one thing. Like no pain has gotten too big of a deal, and carrying and whatnot. Like we're getting more into an RNG tank than others, or it's a lot of things as well. Natraseems, if you have more than one, it's getting a lot harder. I mean, if you have a Natraseem, you can reflect half of the class. But if you have 2, you can reflect 1/4, and if it's 3, it's 1 out of 6. Maybe actually more than that, but you know, it's almost that number. So this is very important because this is increasing your strength. The strength increases your shield slam damage, just increases your damage overall and everything. Also your mitigation increases your armor, for example. And armor is also directed towards physical damage reduction, but it is not mitigating bleeds, for example. So this is an important one, and I think the main reason I'm going left here is probably for the additional potency conduit slot, but this is also good. Then this is great to increase your banner uptime, have an easier time to spam rage. Or let's say you're getting down to 20% in execute phase, you press last stand and you Ravager, and then you can just spam execute a few times for free damage and stack up Ashen Juggernaut. This is whatever. I felt like shield wall CD reduction is nicer, at least on fortified weeks, because it's gonna be more beneficial than a condensed Animasphere, but on Tyrannical weeks it could be worth playing condensed Animasphere. It depends on what key you're going. For example, in Lower Karazhan, it's really nice to be able to have as many shield walls as possible for Tattman, so you have an easier time soaking. Shared Suffering is the ability's name, it's not showing here. Okay, moving forward, it's also allowing you to spamming no pain, but most of the time when you're using no pain, you're going to end up just over shielding yourself, which is fine because it's not just about keeping a shield on you, it's about getting rage dumped for more outburst procs, for more damage, for more no pains, for everything. Banner time. Just that's what makes Pot Warriors fun now, in my opinion. It's all lining up together quite nicely. Going on to this is an alright thing, I guess. I mean, if you can save a second or whatever and from the healing, but if you also take the crowd control immunity, it's actually huge. No, I think I'm going to swap Ashen Juggernaut to Merciless Bone Grinder in the future. Not completely sure. Yeah, it does go. That's one issue. So where you can utilize crowd control immunity is a lot of places, but specifically bosses. I mean, that's probably when you're gonna think about it the most and have most time to actually time it. We have streets, for example, on Acolyte. You can get the circle buff that allows you to soak the orbs and gain damage. Then you can go in the center of him and fleshcraft and you won't get moved. Then you can get 20 stacks and you don't have to worry about any orbs elsewhere. Another place is Maiden. During Repentance you can use fleshcraft and you'll be immune to the to the sap, or incapacitate is what it's called, I guess. There are definitely other places too, but in general it's also a great thing whenever you don't have a healer healing you or you don't have any other mitigation, to just use this. It's 20% damage reduction, gives you a mastery buff. You can also just cast it like this to get the damage buff. Probably worth it. They're fucking huge, aren't they? Built them myself with my brother a couple years back. Moving forward to this. This is quite valuable. Well, I guess we move on to Adaptive Armor Fragment. Simming this is giving better damage than... No, Show of Force is giving better damage, but this is a defensive effect as well. Since you're getting more strength and so forth, so forth. So forth, so forth. So that's why I'm running that. Go to undulating maneuvers. I'm going to see... It's doing about 5.6%. Oh, it's doing 5.6%, and the other option is this and this, and I think that this would result in somewhat the same self-healing, but this way we get Safeguard, which was probably a bigger deal in Season 3, but it's still a nice thing to have. I mean, you can definitely save people with it. And last but probably the main damage thing in this tree, apart from Potency Conduits, is Kevin's Oozling. So when you press banner, you get Kevin's Oozling. He's gonna spawn, he's gonna attack a target, and whatever target you're attacking, you should be attacking, and that target is taking 6% additional damage. I'm not sure about how much healing he's doing. Yeah, 167k, less than 1%, so that's basically whatever, but it's still something. Beware with Kevin though, because for example in Workshop, if you're ever going to solo the event, you might want to get a cancel macro for Kevin's Oozling. If you're wondering how, just look at the buff's name and type cancel aura and buff's name. Because otherwise the not bomb tonks, the rocker tonks are going to throw rocket barrage on Kevin. We don't want that. We want them all stacked in one go. And he can also ask pull if he's left behind, so might be a good thing to have a cancel macro. If we are moving forward to that, from that, sorry, I think we're going to move onwards to Trinkets. And after playing for some time, I definitely miss Blood Splattered Scale. It's a direct defensive, which allows you to not necessarily go for that extra 5% of versatility at times, because it's one additional defensive. So I think in the future I will not be playing Old Warrior Soul. I will probably be playing either a Cheat Death Trinket or Sire the Nathrius Trinket. It's probably going to be the choice. This has a 1 minute CD and it feels great for us. I mean, it's going to mean that you have like what, 1.5 on shield wall, depending on what healer you have. If it's a priest or a shaman, let's say 1.5, and then you have this as well. It's even if you absorb the entire shield, the big shield, I think it's like a 50-60k shield. Oh yeah, it is getting ready for work. Come on. This is work. The fuck. I don't think Old Warrior Soul is going to be in the future for us, and that is the reason, because of the reason that we want to go haste from the affix, and we want to get more defensives from other places, because haste from the affix is just going to be probably worth it, I believe, at least. True, that could be cool, I guess. And once I get Old Warrior Soul replaced, it means that I could go for the Mechagon Trinkets rings again, sorry, not Trinkets. Currently I'm playing Unity on wrists and Reprisal on feet. The reason why it's changed this season is because your legendaries are 291 item level versus 2 when they were higher than everything else. So now we want to have them in the slot that gives less value. You also have in legs and wrists. No, legs and belt. Oh. Why never use Bonesmith Hammer? I never actually do. Never ever. Can't remember why. But it might have to do with potency conduits. It's 2 potency conduits, but it could be worth it. Versus something like 9 Trinket plus Guardian. Or 9 Trinket. No, you should probably play Guardian and 9 Trinket. Yeah, fleshcraft is way better on my left, but that's not the main thing. I think because 9 plus Tessellation, I wouldn't recommend Tessellation. I would say Sire instead then, for example. Yeah, it is, but I mean, it's a cheat death as well. Well, not a cheat death, but it's for a few seconds. Why am I thinking? Because undulating maneuvers was a thing. Because this was a thing. Like, it's almost covering 9%. But it could actually be an idea currently. And we're getting safeguard. It's not necessarily. Depends on per week. I mean, we're getting adaptive armor fragment. That's what we're looking at now. Huh. I mean, I did try Bonesmith last season, and just for whatever reason I didn't want to play it. Currently we're just playing you're playing it the right way, sure, but it's not about damage. You should really stop caring about damage, definitely in higher keys. Yeah, that's what I was feeling as well initially, but then again, I mean, if we consider you're getting armor increase by I think I should try Bonesmith, but I don't think it's going to be worth it. And that's also a positive thing, I guess. But where was I initially? I was talking about trinkets. So it's either cheat death and ages, or or ages and sire trinket, I believe. Fleshcraft CDR, sure. But I mean, how many times did I actually use Fleshcraft? Cost 5, 6. Probably it was more, but mostly 4. Fleshcraft is not too big of a deal. But we could use it more, I guess, yeah. Like, consider whenever you're fleshcrafting, you're not dealing damage and you're not casting no pain. You're not casting shield block, you're not casting anything. You gotta prioritize continue fleshcrafting unless you're below 50% health. You're gonna get the shield block instead. No, if above 50% health, you should go for shield block instead, probably, rather than keep on fleshcrafting. Yeah, you can pump with that, definitely. But not gonna go much higher than Iron Dogs 22, to my belief at least. So we talked about trinkets. I mean, there's probably going to be people asking about the Mechagon Shield, and I wouldn't use it straight up flat because we need the versatility, as I've spoken about. The shield is a bit RNG, and it's gonna do more healing than versatility solemnly would do, but versatility is also increasing your healing overall, so it's about the same. Just that versa should be priored over. Well, that's just, maybe he gets that feeling, but it's definitely not true. Because he's not gonna keep shield block up for forever. Weapons, I mean, it's whatever. Go for haste versa, or versa at least. It's my opinion. At a certain point, we could go away from haste, but I would always recommend to have at least 26% haste, and then when you pick the affix, you get 28%, and your shield block is immediately down to 12 seconds recharge time. So, actually, talents is what we're gonna do next. And I think the only talents you should question is line 3, line 6 and 7. This is an alternative playstyle. Not like this we would play Ravager. But I haven't actually played heavy repercussions this season, but I've seen that people have. And I mean, it would just mean that we'd never drop shield slam ever. No, not shield slam, shield block, sorry. And the times that we drop shield block is when we die. So I might end up trying it, but it's definitely a more boring playstyle. That's for sure. And it's sad if that's the way we actually have to play. Yeah, I mean, you want shield block up at all times, otherwise you're fucking dead. Demo shout, booming voice, sorry, is mostly to have an easier time keeping banner up. It's also nice single target damage, but mostly to help keep banner up. So I would probably play BSC, heavy repercussions, and Ravager if I went that, and otherwise just as we are right now. Ravager, anger management, booming voice. Wouldn't be worth going into the fray otherwise, maybe for upper class or something like that. But I doubt. It's still a huge deal, for example, during execute phase, if you get last stand and Ravager, then you can just spam. That's it about talents. On Sand Dune weeks, I sometimes play Menace just to be able to knock myself. Yeah, that's the case, sire. Kind of, but not really, because you get more rage from the shield slam. So it's... shouldn't, at least last time I played heavy repercussions, it wasn't too much of an issue to keep banner up with heavy repercussions. It was about the same. And if you have an issue, you can go booming voice, because I played BSC, Ravager, heavy repercussions, but that was last season. That was with Now we have more haste though, so it could be even better. More haste should mean more shield slam cast. So we went through talents, we went through conduits, we went through trinkets, stats, meanings. I mean, it's not a detailed guide, it's... not too detailed at least. We can think about specific dungeons. As yet again, I'm going to link the sheet. Here you can see most things that you can reflect. There's a lot of effects that doesn't make any sense. For example, in Iron Docks, there's these guys, the flame spitters. You can reflect the ground effects from these. Again, you can reflect Shadow Claws, you can reflect Blood Siphon, but I would strongly recommend to reflect Shadow Claws. Yeah, but I mean, as soon as you drop banner, I do notice the lack of armor, strength, whatnot. My banner uptime currently is 71% in that streets, that's a bit low. Should be about 80. Let's see what other key I have. This is Gambit 29. Banner uptime is 88. Field block 83. So no pain cast is 426. That's not the truth though. 102 applications and 491 reapplications, and that is not counting the value from Outburst. Outburst is 10 times that I didn't utilize the proc, that I got another one. Yeah, that's issue. Well, probably second best reflect. I would say the last boss in uppercut. Rats? You can reflect rats? How do you reflect rats? The poison? Okay. Didn't know about that at all. Poison fan, okay. Yeah. They're fucking horrible though, and I never want to play them. They're fucking horrible. The Stampede is just cancerous. But for example, chess event is going to do the king. Whenever there's someone in melee, he's going to do an AoE on the lanes next to him. It's blue frost alike. You can reflect that, but if you time it right, you can time it when you kill a knight or whatever to remove his 90% damage reduction shield, and it's actually about a 900k reflect or something like that, dependent on key level of course, but you can also reflect it whilst he has the shield up, and it's going to do like 70, 80, 90k, which is definitely worth it. It's a huge deal. Last boss in Upper Karazhan is a big reflect as well. Can't do it here, but it's a big reflect. You can reflect this guy, Force Blade, probably a Cane Strike too, but I'm not 100% sure. But at least Force Blade is a lot of damage. I think you can reflect something from the volatile energies, but I'm not too sure. On Medivh you can reflect the Guardian's images, piercing missiles. No, not piercing missiles, piercing missiles as well, but also the Bird's Cast. On this guy I believe there's nothing, but you should also use spell effects for mitigation. I never talked about that. I never talked about specific spells and how to rotate them, what we're using certain things for and not. So first of all, keep banner up at all times. It's only gonna help you towards physical, apart from the fact that you're generating more rage and you get more pain casts and so forth. It could be an idea, Gogo. I don't think it would do too low AoE damage though, because you could still use BSC. Easily with that, I believe at least. Okay, so let's talk about our mitigations. Apart from trinkets, so banner, physical damage, apart from the rage generation, which is gonna help you in no pains. Then we have Demo Shout, that is flat damage, reducing the damage they deal to you by 25%. It's just everything. If it's a water bolt coming onto you for 25k, it's reducing it by 25k. Spell effect is getting changed in the future, but for now you reflect one spell or you mitigate 20% damage if it's not used for 5 seconds. It's a big deal. Try to get it into your rotation, use it at all times. As you can see from my healing done, most of it is coming from no pain, but there's also a lot of overhealing from all different kinds of sources. If we consider my healing done, I'm doing just as much, no, not just as much, but like 25% of the healing done in Indomitable, and Leech is doing even more on Leech. I'm actually overhealing. However, the issue with in no pain is that it's only doing 55% damage taken. Could be like, it's questionable if you would want to go Never Surrender or not, because with this we're not having Indomitable. if I go to 55%, I won't as easily heal up to 50 to 60% by myself. Like, I can get a shield to cover more of it, but questionable. I should also try it out, make further updates on it. But for now, Indomitable feels like a choice. But this way, I guess it would mean, I guess if I remember correctly, that Ignore Pain is ignoring 55 times 1.4 means it's like 70% of damage taken up to 100%, which is more than damage taken. The fuck? Yes, you can intervene people, but he's going to recast it, so you would have to intervene and he's going to run after you, and then you would have to leap away and try to not hit your party members and stuff like that. Fuck me. Right, we talk about Ignore Pain. Most of the time you're gonna have an Ignore Pain that's going to be fully stacked, and you're just going to throw more Ignore Pains into it. I did a bad rotation, now I just went in. But what you're gaining is Outburst procs. Stacks, not procs. Well, you're getting seeing red stacks, but turns into Outburst obviously. I actually don't have my Trophy GCD going. I'm going to put it on. And as soon as my banner is up again, I'm going to show you what I usually do when I go into a fight where I actually have room to charge and so forth. We're going to keep on talking about mitigation up to that point. Avatar, with our 4 set, we're also getting 10% damage taken, 10% increased damage taken with Avatar, which is a huge deal. That is also nice with anger management, because if we consider Avatar and its uptime, it is 55%. That's a lot. So it's like 5.5% damage reduction throughout the run if you spread it out. Then we're also having Rally Cry. It's fairly simple, it's just increasing your max health. Not a big deal. Last Stand is also doing the same thing, but it's also healing you for that amount. Heals you for 55k, and it increased my health by almost 55. The thing about Last Stand and Rally Cry during specific weeks such as Necrotic, Last Stand won't heal you, but Rally Cry will increase your health for now. So like, let's say you're at 1k health and you have a Necrotic stack sticking you down at 50 stacks, so you can't receive any healing. You can Rally Cry to survive, but you can't Last Stand to survive. Then we're moving onwards to Shield Wall. Shield Wall is a 50% damage reduction from all sources. That is going to mean, for example, if I remember this correctly, when you go into a fight, you shield block, take a melee attack for say 10k, it's reduced by 30%. Then your versatility is reducing it by 13.38%. So then it is down to 7k and additionally down to almost 6k. Then we shield wall and we have it down to 3k. Then we also demo shout, and that should mean it's down to about 900, about 850 damage. Then we can also fleshcraft if we want to, and that is an additional 20% damage reduction. So that means 850 down to 700 something. No, wait, I did that wrong. we're down to 3k, and then 25% out of that. That is as much as 300, 600, 750, 2.250, and then that by 20%, which is 450 ish. So we're down to 1.8k from 10k. Then we could also critically block that, which should mean that it's down to about not 800, 1.2k or so. But then we could also have parried and it would have been 0 damage. Right, I'm going to show my rotation now, which is this. I try to banner before I go in, and even if you're sometimes losing a tick on Ravager by doing that. Here you can see the spells I'm casting. Always, let's say you're at 50 rage, you're casting Demo Shout. You want to pressing No Pain at the same time. Already I should have charged, leaped out and charged back in to get charge on cooldown and to be ready for it again. Now this is a bit fucked because I don't have a target for intervene here. The thing about shield block, about No Pain and shield block is that it's not on the same GCD as others things. That's what's making Prot War such a high APM, I guess. I mean, this is not perfect, but you basically get the idea. It's also gonna be based on if I'm going into a pack or into a boss or whatnot. Just make sure that if you're not charging into a pack, you're not gonna have shield block up, and you're not necessarily going to have rage for it. So you're going to go in, and you're going to shield Sam once. That was without burst. You're gonna go in, shield Sam once. And you don't have rage. Not even with the thunderclap would you have rage if I would have been at 0 there. So you might want to avatar and shield block if you're not charging him. And if not, you gotta be quick to press shield wall. True. Shockwave helps a lot. Then again, it's sad that Demo Shot is only towards me and not towards the entire group. Demo Shot would be huge if it was towards the entire group. What else? Is there anything else? Stoneform. Use it to remove bleeds if you're playing a dwarf, bleeds, poisons, magics, whatever. If you don't need it for anything else, you can use it for the physical damage reduction. I'm going to talk a bit more about ages as well. This is a messy guide, but at least I'm trying to do something, and for those who ever have the time and patience to watch through it, might learn something. Yeah, we would be mandatory for it. We would be mandatory everything, yeah. It would be insane. It would be huge. It could be smaller and everything else though, but it would be huge. Aegis works in that way. Carbon enhances Aegis for protection, reducing damage you take from enemies in front of you by 12.9k for 8 seconds. And if you then, let's say, take 4 hits, you're going to reduce 4 hits, that is above 13k, you're going to get a absorb shield that is absorbing 45.431 thousand damage. No, you're not going to get that. If it at least does that, sorry, it explodes and dealing some damage to enemies in front of you, but it's not doing a lot of damage in general. That's nothing. Ooh, that's big Suko. I still haven't done my sword mythic raid this week. That's not the main reason why we're using Anhills. Mostly because it's huge ass defensive. Basically, you could consider it as an additional shield block, kind of. But keep in mind that it's only in front of you, and if I pop it now, not going to reduce my damage taken here. But now I'm not getting hit by the Iron Tester because I had it up and it's absorbing more than it hits for. I mean, Codex is not that shit. You can use Codex, but it's not great. To my knowledge, Matrix is more single target and Codex is more AoE. And if nothing else, you also get strength from Matrix, but you don't from Codex, right? Yeah, I would probably play Codex then too. Not that bad. Same, I don't like Stamina Trinkets either. Is there anything else we should talk about? I mean, we could go further into everything, but those things doesn't matter too much. This is more about guide, talking about the class. So I guess I will finish the guide here. Yeah, ignore pain cap, that's the thing, but with strength you get a bigger shield per time. I can imagine that, Tippy. If your awareness of group is bad, you're not watching groups in. The thing about prot warriors is that you do require quite a bit of skill to be played good and high APM. You need kicks to be rolled out, otherwise you're dead. You need people to not stand in sleep puddles when you're intervening them. Things like that. Yeah. What else do we have to say? But we're also definitely the most fun in my opinion, but very, very much more difficult. Keep in mind what you can do, what you can't do. We're different from DKs, and DK is the current meta. We can't grip shit together and act like nothing. We can't, almost forgot. You can't block attacks from behind. Don't have a don't have a mob behind you. I'm gonna show you now. For example, here you can see the first attack I got whilst being in front, whilst having him facing towards me, and I blocked 921. That must have been a crit block. So forth, so forth. Don't get hit in the back. Whenever you have a shield, don't get hit in the back. Whenever in general, don't get hit in the back. You can't parry from behind either. I think you can dodge, but I'm not 100% certain. Yeah, that's nice to hear, Head. Backpadding is your best friend. Well, no. Kind of, but strafing. Yeah, I would agree, Goga. Is it the same with DK room weapon? What do you mean? I don't think so, because they don't have block, do they? I don't know too much about DK. The parry thing? Well, yeah, parrying in general, you shouldn't be able to parry from behind. So yeah, don't get it from behind, but that is not as big of a deal as this is. Maybe they can with Rune Weapon up, but in general, at least it used to be the way that you cannot parry from behind. Because I mean, parry is basically that you're countering the attack with holding your weapon up, right? So strafing, if you're running, say mob is at I don't have a say this is the mob, he's facing this way, this is front, I can move like this and I should not get hit in the back still, as long as I don't move like this. This is the back. Yeah, they just death strike, so they don't mind. This is strafing. Here I should never get hit in the back from doing it like this.